We used two of the most advanced AI models to create two characters. We will put them face to face. Their arguments will be evaluated by 5 independent AI models across multiple criteria, scored from 0 to 100. This is AI Debates. How should the Second Amendment be interpreted today?
The Second Amendment should be interpreted today exactly as intended, as a safeguard of individual liberty and the right to self-defense. The framers wrote it to ensure that citizens, not just the government, held the power to protect themselves and preserve freedom. While technology and society have evolved, the core principle remains timeless. People must retain the means to resist crime and potential tyranny. Courts have consistently affirmed that the right to keep and bear arms is an individual one, not limited to militias. To reinterpret it narrowly would hollow out its purpose, leaving citizens defenseless and government unchecked. Just as the First Amendment applies to modern media and digital speech, the Second applies to modern firearms. Its relevance today is not diminished, but heightened in a world where threats can arise suddenly and authorities cannot be everywhere. Proper interpretation means upholding it fully as a living guarantee of personal and collective freedom.
The Second Amendment should be interpreted, as the Supreme Court outlined in Heller 2008. It protects individual gun ownership rights while allowing substantial regulation, especially of public carrying. Even Justice Scalia's majority opinion emphasized that this right is not unlimited. The amendment's text, a well-regulated militia, being necessary to the security of a free state, suggests framers envisioned organized, regulated forces, not unrestricted individual carry. Historical context shows concern about standing armies and state defense, not personal carry in civilian spaces. Modern interpretation must consider changed circumstances. The framers lived when guns were single-shot muskets, not semi-automatic weapons, when communities were rural, not densely populated urban centers where stray bullets kill innocents. Well-regulated remains key constitutional language. The amendment permits, indeed expects, reasonable regulations, prohibiting open carry in schools, government buildings, and crowded public spaces falls well within constitutional bounds. Like all constitutional rights, gun rights must be balanced against other fundamental rights, including others' rights to life, safety, and freedom from intimidation. A living constitution approach allows regulations that preserve core self-defense rights while protecting public safety in modern contexts.
Can gun bans coexist with constitutional rights?
No. Broad gun bans cannot coexist with constitutional rights because the Second Amendment explicitly protects the right to keep and bear arms. Just as banning books would violate the First Amendment, banning firearms strips citizens of a core liberty. The Constitution does allow for reasonable regulations like background checks or restrictions on violent felons, but outright bans cross the line from regulation into infringement. A ban turns a guaranteed right into a privilege granted only at the government's discretion, which is the very abuse the Bill of Rights was designed to prevent. Rights are not meant to vanish when they become politically inconvenient. They are enduring safeguards of liberty. To claim gun bans can coexist with constitutional rights is to undermine the meaning of those rights altogether. The only true coexistence is one where laws target criminal misuse while respecting the fundamental right of all law-abiding citizens to bear arms.
Yes, gun carry bans absolutely coexist with constitutional rights. Their constitutionally mandated balance, not violation. Even the Supreme Court's most gun-friendly decision, Heller, explicitly stated that prohibiting firearms in sensitive places is constitutional and that the Second Amendment allows extensive regulation. Constitutional rights routinely have limits that protect competing rights. Free speech doesn't permit threats or incitement. Religious freedom doesn't override public safety laws. Similarly, gun rights don't trump others' rights to safety and freedom from intimidation. The Constitution requires balancing competing interests. Open carry bans protect First Amendment rights by ensuring people can attend public meetings, protests, and civic events without armed intimidation. They protect equal protection by ensuring all citizens, regardless of physical strength or firearm access, can participate equally in democracy. Historical precedent supports this. Many founding-era communities prohibited carrying weapons in populated areas. These weren't seen as constitutional violations but as reasonable public safety measures. Banning open carry preserves core Second Amendment protections: home defense, hunting, sport, while protecting other fundamental rights. This represents constitutional balance, not constitutional violation, exactly what the framers intended through our system of ordered liberty.
Are background checks and regulations enough, or is a full ban necessary?
Background checks and reasonable regulations are more than enough. There is no need for a full ban. A ban unfairly punishes millions of law-abiding citizens who responsibly own firearms while doing little to stop criminals who obtain guns illegally anyway. Background checks, when properly enforced, help keep weapons out of the hands of those who are dangerous, such as convicted felons or the severely mentally ill, without infringing on the rights of responsible citizens. Additional measures like cracking down on straw purchases and illegal trafficking strengthen this system. A full ban, on the other hand, ignores the reality that firearms are deeply embedded in American society and constitutionally protected. It would not only fail to eliminate crime, but also strip ordinary people of the most effective means of self-defense. The smarter path is enforcing existing laws and improving targeted safeguards, not abolishing a right that is central to freedom and safety.
A full ban on open carry is necessary because background checks and basic regulations don't address the core public safety and freedom issues that open carry creates. Background checks can't predict future behavior. Many mass shooters and domestic violence perpetrators pass initial screenings. They also don't prevent legal gun owners from creating public fear, escalating conflicts, or having weapons stolen while carrying openly. The fundamental problem with open carry isn't just who has guns, but the practice itself. Even responsible carriers create psychological harm in public spaces, normalize weapon presence that makes threat assessment impossible, and increase risks of accidents, impulsive violence, and weapon theft. Partial measures like enhanced background checks are valuable for gun sales generally, but they don't solve open carry's unique problems: intimidation of other citizens, escalation of routine disputes, and the chilling effect on democratic participation. International evidence shows that comprehensive bans, not just better screening, are necessary to achieve the dramatic violence reductions seen in Australia, UK, and other countries. Half measures preserve the cultural normalization of public weapons while providing minimal safety benefits. A complete open carry ban, with exceptions for specific occupational needs, is the evidence-based policy approach.
Should states have different gun laws, or should it be national?
States can tailor some regulations to their local needs, but the fundamental right to bear arms should be nationally protected. The Second Amendment is part of the U.S. Constitution, meaning no state should be able to nullify it by imposing outright bans or excessive restrictions. Just as states cannot strip away free speech or due process, they should not be allowed to erase the right to self-defense. That said, states may adjust certain practical rules, such as permit processes or training requirements based on local conditions, provided they don't infringe on the core right itself. A national baseline ensures all Americans, regardless of where they live, enjoy equal protection of their constitutional freedoms. Without it, rights become privileges that vary by zip code, which undermines the very purpose of the Bill of Rights. Freedom should not stop at a state border. It must be consistent across the nation.
National standards are essential because guns don't respect state borders, and fundamental rights shouldn't vary by zip code. The current patchwork system undermines effective gun regulation and creates dangerous inconsistencies. States with strict gun laws see their effectiveness weakened when neighboring states allow unrestricted gun sales and open carry. Weapons flow across borders through legal purchases in permissive states, then travel to restrictive states where they're used in crimes. Chicago's gun violence partly stems from weapons purchased in Indiana and other nearby states with lax laws. Constitutional rights require national consistency. We don't allow some states to restrict free speech or voting rights while others protect them. Similarly, both gun rights and public safety rights deserve uniform protection across America. A national open carry ban would prevent the race to the bottom where states compete to attract gun businesses through increasingly permissive laws. It would also protect citizens' freedom of movement. People shouldn't lose their right to feel safe in public spaces simply by crossing state lines. Federal regulation worked for civil rights, environmental protection, and consumer safety. Gun violence is equally a national problem requiring national solutions, not state-by-state experiments with public safety.
Do gun bans undermine the principle of self-defense?
Yes, gun bans directly undermine the principle of self-defense. The right to defend oneself is fundamental, but without access to effective tools like firearms, that right becomes theoretical rather than practical. A firearm is the great equalizer, allowing the elderly, women, or physically weaker individuals to stand on equal footing against stronger aggressors. By banning guns, the state essentially tells citizens they must rely solely on authorities for protection, even though police often arrive after the harm is done. This strips individuals of agency over their own safety. Moreover, criminals will still find ways to obtain weapons illegally, leaving only law-abiding citizens defenseless. Self-defense is not just a privilege, it is a natural human right, and any law that denies people the means to exercise it undermines that right entirely. A society that bans guns weakens personal security and erodes the foundation of true freedom.
No, open carry bans actually strengthen legitimate self-defense by creating safer environments where true defensive needs are rare and more manageable. Banning public carry doesn't eliminate self-defense, it redirects it toward evidence-based approaches. Most effective self-defense doesn't involve firearms. Situational awareness, de-escalation, escape routes, and calling for help prevent far more harm than armed confrontation. Open carry often escalates situations that could otherwise be resolved peacefully. Home defense remains fully protected under open carry bans. The core self-defense right protecting one's family and property doesn't require carrying weapons to grocery stores or school events. Countries with strict carry laws still allow home defense firearms. True self-defense means creating conditions where defense is less often needed. Open carry increases overall violence, making everyone less safe and requiring more defensive actions. It's counterproductive to genuine security. Professional security and law enforcement provide community-wide defense more effectively than individual carry. Their training, accountability, and coordination create actual safety rather than the illusion of safety that comes from widespread weapon carrying. Real self-defense policy focuses on reducing the need for defense through effective crime prevention, not militarizing civilian spaces.